All right, I want to talk about consumer markets and business markets. Consumer markets are made up of all the individuals, the households that buy and acquire goods and services for personal consumption. When we study the consumer markets, we want to see what they're buying, why they buy it, how they buy it. Do they buy it online? Do they buy it at the store? And also, in some cases, how they use the product. So it's important, if you're selling to the consumer markets, to know the consumer markets, to know how and what they want, and so we can provide that for them. Now we have business markets. These are organizations that buy goods and services for the use in production of goods and services, products and services. So up here, the consumer markets, that's for personal consumption, and the business markets is for the production of goods and services. Now, the important part here is business markets could be a huge opportunity. Now, let's just think about it. If let's just say we make shredded cheese. You have shredded cheese in the bag that's already shredded. You don't have to mess up the thing there. And we might sell 8 ounces of cheese to the individuals in the households, one at a time, 8 ounces at a time. But when we look at business markets, it might be 100 pounds at a time. It might even be 8,000 pounds at a time. So that's a huge opportunity. It's important to see too that if we were selling shredded cheese to the businesses, that there is a derived demand. The business, say they're making frozen pizzas, thousands of frozen pizzas. If they're selling thousands of frozen pizzas, they're going to need a lot of cheese. But if they're not selling that many frozen pizzas, maybe it's during Christmas time or something, I don't know, then they would not need the cheese. So the demand for the cheese comes from the demand for the consumer goods, which would be the frozen pizza. So a lot of times when you're doing, looking at your project or thinking of products to make for the class, we often just think of the consumer markets. But have you thought about what the business markets need? If we have people making hot sauce, they need labels, they need bottles. They don't need just one bottle, they need thousands potentially. Now, when it comes to the different buying situations, we have 3 listed here. We have the straight rebuy, which is you make an agreement with the business that they're going to buy this kind of product, this kind of cheese, and they're satisfied with the cheese. So when it comes time to get more cheese, they'll do hopefully they'll do a straight rebuy and do a direct repeat purchase. The same terms, same price, same quality, same characteristics, attributes of the cheese. But if for some reason they're not satisfied with something, they might do a modified rebuy. This could get scary because they're not satisfied with something. So there's going to be a change of the price, the quality characteristics, and maybe the quantity, so which might go back to derived demand. So the modified rebuy, there's going to be a change. Now that can be okay if you've got a relationship with the business and you can handle their new request. If you can't, then that could be a problem. You might lose the business. And we're not talking about 8 ounces of business, we're talking about potentially thousands of pounds of business. So the third one is the new task. And that's the first time that they're buying something. Maybe they want to put something else on their frozen pizzas, such as maybe frozen bell pepper chips or something like that. So then the company would have to come up with all the specifications and the terms and the price and all of that. So you have a straight rebuy, which is a repeat purchase, which is good news. especially if you're the salesperson. You have a modified rebuy, which might be okay, might be a little scary, and then a new task, which would be a new opportunity for somebody else, or maybe you. So there we have consumer markets and business markets. Don't forget to consider business markets. We often just think of consumer markets, but we should be thinking too of potential business markets that we could satisfy.